iHeart Music. They have 6 radio stations. They're all going to participate from now on at 6 o'clock until you guys beg for us to stop. But it's going to be very exciting, no doubt about it. Now, that being said, I want to once again stress the importance of social distancing, physical distancing, making sure you're staying a minimum of 6 feet away from everyone else. As we all know, this virus is spread through close contact. And that is the danger in this virus, is the fact that it's spread so easily and that it oftentimes can be silent. In other words, you may not even know you have it, but you could be passing it around to others. So as I always stress and advise, just assume that you have this virus and then conduct yourself accordingly. So please, 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 we're doing well so far, and it looks like from the modeling predictions, just got off a conference call with Dr. Lockwood, and it looks like we're going to be able to really flatten the curve with this stay-at-home order that we put in the very beginning. But an order is just an order. It's really you out in the community that are staying home, staying 6 feet away from others, and taking every precaution that you can. So a personal thank you from me to each and every one of you that are doing your part in accepting that personal responsibility. So let me give you some case updates. So as of today, we have in Hillsborough County 571 confirmed cases. There's 83 individuals that have been hospitalized, and fortunately, we are still at 5 deaths. Any death is more than we could possibly accept, but that is our goal, to ensure that the least number of individuals in this area lose their lives because of this virus, and that all depends on what you do each and every day. So very, very important. Now, today we have the privilege of having our new superintendent of schools here in Hillsborough County, Addison Davis, and man, has he hit the ground running. What a time. You know, I tell everybody that people were like, run for mayor, it'll be fun. You know,
yeah,
and
right.
all of a sudden, and everything's going great until it isn't.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
There's no doubt about that. But thank you so much for being a part of this today. And can you give, just for the audience, I think everybody knows who you are because you're everywhere, but just give a little brief introduction of yourself.
Yes, ma'am. First and foremost, Mayor Castor, thank you for what you do every single day for the constituents in Hillsborough County. Your leadership continues to signify that you truly care about the well-being of everyone. And for me, transition, this is week 6 for me, and you know, what a special place. For me, I've been in education for over 22 years, and you know, this is my 23rd, and I've lived the life of being being a teacher, transitioned to a principal, an executive director of turnaround schools, to a regional superintendent of all DNF schools, to a deputy chief of schools, and then recently superintendent of schools in Clay County, and now fortunate enough to be selected to lead the great work in the 7th largest school district in the nation in Hillsborough. So my whole background has been in education, and I love it. It's this is a chance to learn and grow every single day, and to be able to impact over 220,000 students within this great community. So
that's
excited
incredible.
to be here, and a lot of opportunity to learn, to grow, and to work to make the best decisions, to create the best experience for our learners every single day.
Excellent,
Yes.
excellent. And you know, it shows how quickly our area is growing, because I remember not long ago we were the 10th largest
Yes, ma'am.
in the United States, and now the 7th. And the number of people that are moving here every day, and I'm sure in your list when you accepted this position, you know, you were looking at building new schools.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, looking at overcrowding, looking at those schools that that weren't doing as well as we expect
Yes,
in our
ma'am.
community, and trying to lift those schools up from F's to
Yes,
A's
ma'am.
and B's. So it's a little bit of a turnaround
Yes.
from that to your whole world turns to e-learning, and having to implement that really without a playbook. I don't know
Yes,
that
ma'am.
any other areas have been through this type of an exercise. So I commend you and
Thank you.
your entire staff on what you've been able to do in the face of a very
Thank you.
trying time, without a doubt. So let's get right into the questions. So You know, as you said, your 6th week on the job. What a way to enter your new
right?
role, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
My gosh,
It's
nobody
been fun.
was expecting that. So how's it going with the e-learning?
So it's going rather well. You know, as you said, you know, Mayor, this is something that's uncharted waters. It's an unprecedented time. So, you know, being able to have a system process and a playbook to drive this work, it doesn't exist. So we are writing in every page, every letter, every item by the minute. And you know, we're doing the best that we can do in order to make certain we provide a quality experience to our children. I think one of the greatest things we did right after spring break, we used the following week for the setup for Success Week, where we can have and start to create opportunities to launch grab and go meals, to be able to make certain that we have preparation for devices, to upload all of our information from a content perspective on Clever and Etsby, and start having touch points with our students so everyone understood and defined their role and responsibility within the organization. And then last week was our first week to actually start to push out content and truly start the e-learning process. Have we had hiccups? Absolutely. Us, like everyone throughout this nation, have had software issues, have had accessibility issues, have had to face equity issues, and to be openly to really define everyone's role so they can understand what they're actually doing in order to help the mission to make certain that e-learning is launched and prepared and extended in a true effective manner. So it's going rather well. This is week 2 of it. We hear a lot of noise around parents, because we want parents to, we know this is now that we have parents that are working at home, and they're trying to really figure out how they do their role and responsibility professionally, but actually transition to be able to help the learner every single day. So we're using the information that we have accessible to us from parent input, from teacher input, leader input, really to refine our work every single day so that we can get better. So been definitely interesting. As you said, my plan was to come in and look at the availability of having, you know, the next 20 years, they say 1.3 million individuals will transition to Tampa, looking at how do I address underperforming schools, now to everything stopping and focusing on how do we really create the best environment for e-learning. So for me, it's been great because it's a new initiative to learn, but it's also been me and my team 20 hours a day, and the school board working diligently, and leaders as well, and teachers as well, to make that great contact for every one of our students.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, a couple of technical questions. One, how do you provide the e-learning? What have you given out iPads? How do the kids participate?
So what we did during the setup for Success Week, we put a survey out to all of our stakeholders and parents to identify whether or not they had availability for an electronic device, whether that was going to be a smartphone, whether that was going to be a laptop or a desktop. We wanted to be able to identify who actually needed support to be able to give mobile devices. With that survey, it came back to around 20,000+ learners needed to have mobile devices. So from our standpoint, that we had 30,000 devices internally, that we started to create mobile identifications in schools to be able to push out to our communities. To date, we've given out 35,000 mobile devices. And those are all in laptop fashion. We've also ordered another 42,000 laptops, so we're in the process of re-imaging. They're coming in slowly, but 16,000 last week, so we have another 20,000 this week that we'll be able to continue to address the digital divide. So any parents, if you're watching out there, you need devices, reach out to your school leaders, and they're doing a great job informing us as a school district so that we can get those devices out. In addition, if we have individuals who have devices that do not have Wi-Fi, that's been another question that we may have. How are we going to be able to address that divide? And we've linked with Spectrum, and Spectrum's provided a 60-day free accessibility to Wi-Fi. And then we also have Comcast, who has a $9.95 per month as well. And I think it goes deeper for us, Mayor. We ordered 500 hotspots, and we're trying to look at our free and reduced heat map, along with looking at different pockets of our community that may be underdeveloped with new development, who do not have the dark fiber or the infrastructure to be able to triage and put those hotspots out strategically so they can have that accessibility to help them to make sure that learning continues every day.
And that will have lasting benefit if we have those hotspots in areas that individuals may not be able to afford or have access to the Wi-Fi. So that's something that I've looked at as a mayor as a
Yes, ma'am.
project to get that internet accessibility into certain areas of our community. Boy, your IT team must be running and gunning.
Sleepless nights, I can say that
without
openly.
a doubt.
And
That's
hats off to them.
Yes, no kidding. That's
Yes, ma'am.
something to be able to put that all together. Now, as far as the actual learning, do you have teachers involved, or are you putting out curriculum right now based on what grade they're in?
Yes, ma'am.
Or are teachers actually communicating with their particular
Right.
students?
Yes, ma'am. So when we saw this to see forecasted that there was a potential transition to virtual learning, like the first day I was here, first 2 days, we started working with curriculum instruction to set this up. And for us to use Clever, which is on the teacher side of where we go and we upload all of our standards, all of the content that needs to be exposed from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, and to make certain that the right standards are being extended to our children so that they have a spiral curriculum as they transition from one grade level to the next grade level. So in this process, we've outlined and mapped out the entire standard curriculum by grade level, by content in core contents, along with some of our resource classes from now until the end of the year. And so teachers have accessibility to look at that information and look at a number of resources and start to devise and develop their lessons to extend to our learners every single day. And they're doing that through interaction, through whether it's Zoom meetings, which we have new guidelines in place. So that I know we see there's a national trend of Zoom being somewhat penetrated from hijackers. We've got new guidelines. Zoom is doing a really nice job on their side to have better securities. We have opportunity for conference calls, opportunity for touch points through communications with emails, and we're using EdSpeed to upload all that information and to have constant communication and video teaching from our teachers to our students, and to our parents as well, so they can stay actively involved.
That's excellent.
Yeah. So one thing we don't want to do is take the individuality away from our teachers. They do great things, so we just want to give them the content and allow that delivery, which they're trying to redefine, to have that connectivity, because none of our teachers planned, only a small percentage planned to do virtual teaching. The bulk of 90+% planned to do brick and mortar face-to-face. So they're trying to look and define every single day how that look is, and to make certain that there's a continuity every single day.
That's interesting. And I tell you, my kids are getting ready to turn 21. They will be seniors in college, but all through high school they had the EdSB program, and
Yes,
that was really fascinating.
Yes, ma'am.
It boy, I tell you what, that was a reckoning for a lot of kids,
Yes,
because they couldn't.
Oh yeah,
they came
that's
home
right.
and it's like, no, that's not what the teacher said. So you could look it up every day.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that really is very exciting. So so with the let's see, we've already got the e-learning, looking at that, and the parents and students sometimes are complaining about being overwhelmed with a volume of student work. Is that?
Yeah, that's a reality. So I think now that our communities start to understand the values and the impact that teachers have every single day. And so our teachers are doing a really nice job uploading information, and we've asked them to do a week at a time. Some's already done it all the way out to the extension of May 1st, which we're not, projected to come out. And when you take that and you look at a child's, overall schedule, you see that not only they have one teacher, they may have multiple teachers.
Right.
Because they have multiple content. So when you look at packing on a week from Addison Davis, a week from Mayor Castor, a week from Debbie Cook or Miss Snively, or whoever, you can say that teacher X, that it's a lot of work. So we are trying to find that balance between the accountability piece for students, but at the same time the flexibility to understand that that we've got to work with them and not overload them. We do believe, parents are seeing that their children do a lot of work when they're in face-to-face every single day in the classrooms, and that while teachers are assigning that same volume of work, we may need to have a balance of scaling back so we can understand a threshold of what a child may be able to do and own, so that we don't put such pressure on the learner, but also we don't put such pressure on that parent as well, and that we're there as a resource. So we're looking at figuring out what that define and definition is, and trying to send that out in the next 48 hours, so that there's a better understanding of what that is expected of our teachers to extend to students, and students to be able to learn and interact every single day with our parents. So that really takes place. So we hear parents, if we watch it, we hear you, we understand it, and teachers keep doing great work. But we'll find that balance for everyone finds that comfort where they understand that learning's taking place consistently at a high quality, high level every single day.
Yeah, I said that there is going to be a whole new level of appreciation for teachers. I said
they do great
the next
work.
Teacher appreciation event, people
Yes,
are going
ma'am.
to be driving up new cars.
Absolutely.
And going, here's the keys. I had no idea.
Absolutely.
Somebody said the other day, a woman said, if you see me talking to myself, don't worry, it's just a parent-teacher conference. But
it's probably true.
I know, but you think about that the kids, if sort of out of sight, out of mind, you don't know what the teachers are doing every single day, and what they're doing for your children. So I think there will be a whole new level of appreciation for all of our teachers. So that is wonderful. Now here's a question about the EDSP, and I know you talked about that, but talk about just some of the problems that you have had with EDSB. And I know, just like our unemployment registration, when a system is built for, say, 10,000 and you get 40,000 on it at the same time, you're going to have issues. So
yes, ma'am. I mean,
it's
a reality. So, and
what is EDSB? Some people that don't have kids may not know.
So EDSB is the platform that we use for all of interaction between a parent and student with our teachers in our school district. So, being able to go look at lessons, look at grades, and to have continued interaction to what's going on within our school calendars. That's all affordability through EDSB every single day. But it's true. We early, when we went to launch e-learning in my first, for a couple weeks ago, the last question in the press conference was, Addison, we hear that EDSB's down. I'm going, well, that's news for me, or here we are launching it. And but it was a reality. The issue is that they were not settled and could not obtain the volume that was being pushed to use that platform. And EDSB is an outsourced content software that we use to hub, all of our information to have that gatekeeper communication, and it's that platform for our students and parents. So they had to go and identify new servers to get people to rethink to be able to have the volume, not only for Hillsborough when you're the 7th largest school district in the nation, and you have 220,000 students, and you have parents, multiply that by 24,000 employees working in this system. Yeah. That you take that and you multiply that through not the state of Florida, but throughout the nation as well, and you just have overload. So we've had some times where we've had slow times where parents couldn't get on, where students couldn't get on, where teachers couldn't get on. So I watched a teacher do a Facebook Live lesson, and they go, "Well, we hope you get this. If EDSB's alive, alive and well right now, you'll be able to do it. But just get to it when you can get to it." And I love that because the teacher knew we were going and we were struggling with this vendor. So, and I made it very clear to the vendor, if they can't get up and running and help us be fluent for our children, I'll find someone else to do it. So, and that's about accountability. So we're at a better spot now. We're learning as we go along, and we've had hiccups, but we're going to transition through this and be successful with it.
Good, excellent. That's great. So let's see. So what's occurring with students that may need additional support?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So we have a number of students that are their readiness level academically may need additional interventions, whether or not students with disabilities, students of who may need ESOL students who have language barriers. We are trying to make certain that we maximize every one of our employees at the school district. And while we know that the services may not look the same because it's not face-to-face, we're trying to do everything we can virtually to continue to have those wraparound services every single day. Whether that's leveraging school counselors, whether that's making certain that we have, uploaded support interventionists to help children who may not get the core concepts being taught or extended by our teachers, to make sure that there's conference calls through small group conferencing, through tutorials to help them scaffold the instructional process. One of the things we're doing is that the curriculum instruction has done a really nice job uploading some materials for our students who may need to scaffold the instruction to get to expose exposed to grade level content. So being able to have an opportunity to be exposed to grade level standards, but giving them reinforcements along the way that have particular lessons that help them have and obtain, reach confidence and success, so they can have a staircase approach to being successful. So leveraging behavior interventionists, we're leveraging social workers, mental health counseling, leveraging interventionists for core content, making certain that we have all the necessary drive and movements to help our children who may need additional work through hearing impaired and visual impaired. You name it, all of our practitioners are out there reaching. And for parents, if you haven't had that connectivity, let us know so that we can have those touch points so that continues to take place, because every one of our employees wants to do a well job in this process. It wants to continue. They miss our learners. They miss our students. They miss, I know that you, as parents, you may see your students more than you've ever seen before at home, but our teachers miss them, and our staff members, and they're willing, ready to help them every single day.
Okay. And how about teachers? Is there any type of a mandate on the teachers? I have a couple teachers live across the street from me, and that they are to help out the students and reach out as much as they can, or are they just doing that on their own? Yeah,
so there's not a mandate. What we told educators is that while we are open we want to make certain we identify our common hours of work. We have to understand there's got to be flexibility.
Right.
And I have 2 kids at home, so let's just say I have one computer. They may have to take shifts of when they're on that one computer, and we have families that are in that same situation. So knowing that Addison may get the work done from 8 to 12 or 8 to 1, we know that Terry may not be able to get that work done because of the accessibility to computer until 2 to 6 o'clock at night.
Right.
So being able to be flexible with our communication and to have that outreach in a different manner, I think that just signals that we're here and we care for our children, and we know that situation that they may be in. And we're trying to address that divide every single day and to remove the inequities that are existing. But we're working at the pace with the information that we have. So our teachers, they know that they may have to have touch points at beginning of the day, end of the day, maybe potentially in the evening. But they know their children. They're doing a really nice special job every single day, and pushing us to make certain that they have the resources to be successful.
Excellent. That's great. And like you said before, the Facebook Live, for a teacher to present a lesson in that way so that the kids could they could access it at different times or whenever it's available for them. So that would be absolutely wonderful. So here's another just colossal task that people have no idea the logistics that go into something like delivering meals to your students. And I just think it is so commendable that from day one you and I had this conversation because we had kids that we were going to feed on spring break.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, we talked and coordinated all of that. But to be able to put in place that grab and go food process initiative that you've done across the county is really nothing short of amazing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, ma'am. So, first, thank you for being a think partner early in the stages of this work, and I thank our operations, our food nutrition, our school board for allowing us to do some special work for children and for our community. So originally we started out with 23 sites, and those 23 sites can be found on our website at www.hillsboroughschools.org. So if you're watching, go out there and you'll be able to see our food sites. So after 1 week, we grew that to 147 sites because we knew there's just a growing need within our community.
Yes.
And so over the 147 sites, we also last week added 150 routes. And of those 150 routes, we have our 150 buses, we have over 300 routes that we're touching as well. So 147 sites at schools, 150 buses, over 300 routes. And in that, Mayor, we've done a really nice job, and we fed extended over 500,000 meals to our community. And that clock starts back over today again, and we see that there's just a growing need.
Yes.
So many thanks to all the parents, and there's a lot of questions where you know what, does a student have to be there? Can we get a waiver to give to parents? We have got the waiver, we're ready to go. Parents walk up, they identify their learner, what grade level they're in. We give that meal, and whether it's a student or a parent, and we're good to go. So the biggest thing is that we can we hope to fill and remove any void that currently exists within our communities, and we see that it's helping between what you're doing, Feeding Tampa Bay, and what we're doing. I think we're doing a really nice coordinated effort to serve our community and address their well-being.
Good, and that's one of the wonderful things about being able to live in Tampa and Hillsborough County is the way that that everybody comes together in a time of need. So it really is wonderful.
I have been in many school districts across the nation, not only to lead, but to go and visit and to provide feedback on how to improve teaching and learning. I have never seen a community that wants to work collectively in concert with a singular goal of improving the educational system within their community. And this is the first time I've ever been around people who are so positive about education, the willingness to really make strides, for them to wrap their arms around educators, leaders, civic leaders, I mean, you name it, businesses, families, constituents, advocates. Everyone's working in harmony, and I think that's the most attractive thing that I've seen here since I've been here. So I'm excited about our future, excited about what we can do collectively, and looking forward to doing some special things to put Hillsborough back on the map educationally.
Good. And you know, that's that talking about these trying times right now, you know, the two necessary items are food and shelter.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, to ensure that our entire community has the food necessary and the shelter that they need. But also, we have to deal with the anxiety. You know, a lot of, as you said, parents are at home working from home, or worse yet, unemployed, with the students there. And so a lot of anxiety about the future and being able to provide those counseling assistance or whatever it is for parents and children as well, because the kids, they know what's going on, and you know, they want to be put at ease, and they want to understand how they can help, or what the long-term situation entails. So incredibly important. So what lastly, what safety measures are being taken to protect the employees and our schools as well?
Yeah, so we're trying to make certain that we practice a stay-at-home order and to follow the CDC guidelines with if there has to be a very limited number of staff that are with us every single day, that we practice the 6-foot guideline as well. From our perspective, we do, you know, when we talk about the health and the well-being and the safety well-being of a community, the school district is essential in that nature, as you know. So with grab-and-go meals for nutritional offerings, and then also making certain that learning continues. So we have, you know, food nutrition, healthy express meals that are taking place every single day. They're on campuses. We have individuals that are trying to get devices ready to disseminate. And then we have school-based leaders as well. And then we have custodial staff. So ever since we had we transitioned to our shutdown, we've started to do specialized cleaning in every one of our schools. And that's making certain that we turn ACs off, and that that means the dust particles are transitioning down from the air to the ground, and then we go in with our fog, and we are able to blast every one of our areas within our schools to make sure we eliminate any potential germs or any exposure of any symptoms or bacteria that's actually existing in the school. So we're being very strategic about if someone is on campus. We're trying to limit leaders and teachers. Teachers right now are supposed to be completely remotely unless they schedule an appointment to come get something. We want them to be able to their new home to be their classroom. For administrators, we're doing rotational schedules for who's on site and who's not, to limit that, and they're only to be on the front office. Nutrition is trying to stay in the cafeteria, and then custodial staff put them in strategic places along the way, so that if someone is exposed to someone in the community and they come to the school, we know what to be able to go into triage immediately, that subset or that sub pocket of the school, so that we can continue to make certain that we have that healthy environment. So if you look at Rosac, it's our downtown office. We have very limited, less than 25 individuals that are at that site. So I'm encouraging them every day to to stay at home and work virtually. But sometimes coming to the office, they get a chance to sit back and get some real work done. But we're trying to transition that mindset to do as much and often as we can remotely, so that we can protect them and we continue to protect our learners. We've ordered masks and we have gloves on site as well for any dissemination of food or devices that we are scheduling to continue to protect every one of our employees. So doing a lot of that work, and we're also doing a well job of offering our employee assistant program as well, because these are trying times, because we may have employees that are connected with spouses or family members that may have been furloughed or lost their jobs. So we want to make sure we have the mental health perspective available, and we have mental health hotlines available along with EAP programs available as well to help.
That's great.
So lots going on, as you can see, in my world, your world, but just thankful to be a partner.
Well, I may have to give you a call for that fogging system for
the
germs for my kids' room.
Yes, yes, ma'am. We'll be there. Just let us know.
So, very last before we turn to the audience questions. So, have you met Thaddeus Bullard?
I have. He's a special individual.
Isn't he a great guy?
Hey, I mean, it's. We talk about individuals that truly want to make a genuine impact in communities and schools. But what I've seen, what he's done for this community in a short period of time in a crisis, but also at SLY, and I mean, I'm just blown away about an individual that is so caring, that it's not about him, but it's about others. It's so special and it's remarkable. If I could duplicate who he is and what he does, we'd be in a great shape. But my hat's off to him to being such a champion of change and really doing some great work for kids and great work for community.
And he's made such a difference there. We have a very robust Bigs in Blue program, we call it, where police officers become big brothers, big sisters.
Right.
So when I was with the police department, I had a little sister start at start at Sulphur Springs Elementary, because that at the time was an F school. So my whole staff went out there, and then as she grew, my little sister, she went to SLY. And so I was there a lot, and I tell you, the difference is night and day in that school.
It's so
it's
special.
amazing what one person can do, isn't it?
It's just special. I mean,
plus you can't say no to him.
You can't say no. I mean, it's like, his heart's big.
Yeah, it is. But that's wonderful. Again, a great example of what makes our community the best in the nation, without a doubt. So here's one question from Melissa on Twitter. It says, is school going to be virtual for the rest of the year? I think we all know the answer to that.
Yeah, so while there's we started this process, and I think it was mid-March, and it was always in a 2-week phase. And we're going to come back on March the 27th. And then here we go, we push it out to April 15th. And now we're out to May 1st. So if you can see the trajectory, I forecast that we would probably, while it hadn't been signified from the Department of Education, I would say that we probably will be out until the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that would be a safe bet.
It's a safe bet, and we're prepared for it in Hillsborough. Lessons already created and made, and and then asking individuals to transition back to our schools may create angst for families. True. And so do they feel that we've done a really nice job for the comfort level to prepare them for the environment? I can say yes, we have. We're doing everything we can to make it the greatest environment from a safety perspective. But it puts us in a 4-week period to determine whether or not we put parents in a difficult situation to make that determination. So I'm going to support whatever the DOE says, and we're going to go back to return to normalcy as soon as we can. But I do forecast that we will potentially be out, and then we could potentially be out for summer as well. So summer learning could be e-learning, virtual learning as well. But we are ready and prepared in developing that model right now, just in case.
Good. And then Jennifer Roberts on Twitter as well asks if there's any plans for high school graduations yet. Yeah,
it's a great question. We understand, and I personally understand, this is a special moment for our students, and they're missing so many grad bash activities, proms, you name it. They may not be able to go to it, and so we want to protect and keep the schedule as is right now. And we see other counties that's their own prerogative to cancel. I'm just not willing to do it right now. I know that parents, it's so rewarding. Our children work so hard for 13 years. They want to cross that stage. They want to have that special moment. And as a civic leader, I want to provide that moment as well. And we have principals that are ready, that want to stand strong with us, school board members that want to do this, teachers that are ready. So until we can't do it, it's on. So we know that we may have to push it back from time. And we think that we're ready to go all the way to the end of July. That'll be our point where we've got to kind of cut it off. Yeah. But right now, we're going to do everything we can to create those special moments.
Good. I hope that's the case.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions, Ashley?
Just for Mayor Castor on Bayshore,
Oh.
switching items, but what was your decision today to not close down Bayshore?
Mm-hmm.
What did that mean, and what kind of consideration did you put into it ahead of that?
Right. Well, we put a great deal of consideration into it. You know, we wanted to keep all of our parks open. We wanted to provide as much of a recreational outlet for our citizens as we possibly could. But as the Safer at Home order went in place, and I do anticipate that as the cases grow, that we will tighten the restrictions on the stay at home. And when I say that, I just mean communicate to individuals the need for that stay at home, and to try to get as many people as possible to work from home, just creating that physical distance at all times. And so we ended up had to close down the parks because individuals were coming in, young kids, and were playing sports that brought them into contact with each other. We left open the biking trails, the jogging trails, the river walk, and Bayshore. And as I have said all along, we encourage individuals to go outside, get exercise, walk the dog, ride the bike, jog, whatever it is that can get you out in the sunshine while being able to maintain that distance separation. But I also ask that everybody do it in your own neighborhood. Don't travel somewhere to, for example, Bayshore or the Riverwalk. And we saw a couple of times large crowds along the Bayshore, and so I really identified location, the Bayshore location in East Tampa over around Nucio Parkway, and a location in West Tampa along Tampa Bay Boulevard, where we could close down the streets and allow our citizens to come out and recreate. And it was really something that I wanted to do, but decided against it because then there's the encouragement to bring individuals together. And right now that's the last thing that we can have is individuals in large gatherings or groupings. So I decided against that, and that's the reason that we are not going to close down Bayshore or the other locations that I mentioned either. And again, I would ask all of our citizens to please, I know it's frustrating, but it is for a short duration, and the value of it is that we can save lives, and some of those lives may be your loved ones. So to stay off of Bayshore and the Riverwalk as much as possible. If you are going to exercise or recreate, please do it in your own neighborhoods, small groups, and maintaining a physical distance from each other.
A few more questions. What specifically is TPD doing to enhance speed enforcement along Bayshore and other areas?
All right. There are three elements. We call them the 3 E's. There's actually 5 E's, but the 3 that are important. First is education, then engineering, and then enforcement. So trying to educate all of our citizens, not only the driving public, but pedestrians and bicyclists as well. You may see along all the backs of all the police cars, we have that 3-foot distance separation reminder for all of the motoring public to be aware of bicyclists out in our community. And then we also, with our pedestrians, because we have a lot of the pedestrian involved crashes as well. So looking at the education and then engineering, does the roadway or the intersection, does that contribute to more crashes in that location? And we have identified in the city of Tampa the top 20 crash intersections. And the majority of those are along roadways that you can figure out for yourself, along Fowler Avenue, Bush Boulevard, Hillsborough, and MLK to a lesser degree, and along Nebraska Avenue. And so those areas are where officers are tasked with doing enforcement. A lot of those intersections have the red light cameras right now because they are the high crash intersections, and they're the ones where you have the T-bone crashes, and those are the ones most likely to result in death. So those are the areas that we look at. We have done an incredible amount of enforcement along Bayshore Boulevard, but the accidents, the 3 fatality accidents that we have had on Bayshore have been caused by someone making a very bad decision. In one case, to get inebriated and drive recklessly, and the 2 other cases to drive recklessly. And it cost innocent individuals their lives. So with Bayshore, the answer is going to be engineering rather than enforcement. There was a police officer that's assigned to that area, to Bayshore Boulevard, and he had just gone to a call on Davis Island like 10 minutes prior to that accident. But having an officer out there writing citations is not going to stop those types of bad decision crashes. What will stop those crashes is breaking that Bayshore up, and that means putting more stoplights along there so that individuals don't have the ability to get up to a high rate of speed. With that said, you can't do that overnight. We have a stoplight that is scheduled to be put in at Euclid and Bayshore, but those take engineering studies, they take soil studies, because they have to figure out what type of base to put in to hold up the apparatus for the red light signals. So that is already scheduled to be put in. We're looking at Rome and Bayshore as well for a stoplight. I also asked our transportation group to look at the flashing yellow beacons and crosswalks, not just on Bayshore, but I've seen it on Bush Boulevard. I've seen it in other areas, 40th Street, where we have those, and individuals don't pay any attention to the flashing yellow lights. Just drove down through Channelside where we have those. We stopped for the flashing yellow and 2 cars came through without even noticing. So I want to see if it's possible to put red flashing lights instead of yellow in those. And there are a lot of regulations for roadways, not to get, I already got too deep in the weeds on this, but with Bayshore, it's considered arterial at the state level. So you can't put speed bumps on Bayshore unless we're able to successfully reclassify it on the state level. So we are looking at anything and everything to make ways, any and every way to make all of our streets throughout the city of Tampa safe for our pedestrians, our bicyclists, and our motoring public.
Final question, will you be dancing and singing?
And that's a very, you know what, if I was to dance and sing in tonight's event, that would probably be the first and last of the entire event. So I hope we're going to have a lot of really rhythmic city employees out there that will be entertaining and will be exciting to watch dance. Nobody wants to hear me sing, and you probably don't want to see me dance either. But we're going to have fun this evening. It's going to be a great time, and I hope that everyone tunes in at 6 o'clock. Is that it for the questions?
That's it.
All right. I want to, again, thank you so much for all that you've been able to accomplish in 6 short weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
And I tell you, it shows that that you are a dynamic leader, and you definitely are flexible and adaptive.
Thank you.
So
I
thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see what you're able to accomplish once we come out the other side of this
Yes, ma'am.
virus here. So
Thank
looking
you.
forward to a great partnership.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Thanks.
you.
That's all.